was just standing there, waiting for his coffee, minding his own business. No threats, no crimes, just a quiet man in a crisp suit scrolling through his phone. But to the officer walking by, that wasn't enough. The man was black, and that was all it took. Moments later, he was pinned against a patrol car, cuffed like a criminal. Cameras rolled. Crowds stared. No one knew who he really was or what he was about to say. But when he finally spoke, everything changed. Because this wasn't just a wrongful arrest. It was a career-ending mistake. It was a chilly Monday morning in Oak Ridge, a mostly white suburb where things never really happened. Unless you didn't look like you belonged. Derek Lawson had just transferred into town. He wore a tailored navy suit, clean-cut fade, polished shoes. Everything about him radiated command and composure. But to passers-by at the corner cafe, he was just another unfamiliar black man loitering. No one knew he had just been appointed as the new chief of police.
If you believe stories like this need to be heard, hit subscribe and tap the bell so you never miss a moment that matters.
Tasked with reforming a department riddled with complaints of racial profiling and excessive force. And this morning, before his first official meeting, he decided to grab a coffee. Alone. No motorcade. No press. Just a quiet walk to observe the neighborhood he was about to serve. But in this town, appearances were everything. A 911 call came in from someone saying, "There's a suspicious man outside Java Spot. Just standing there watching people. No weapon. No threat. Just existing." 2 patrol officers nearby responded. They didn't ask questions. They didn't recognize the man whose face would soon be on every news channel in the country. Instead, they stepped out, handcuffs ready. He didn't resist. He didn't even flinch. He just calmly turned around, letting the cuffs click over his wrists. And all the while, he said nothing. He waited, because he knew exactly what they were about to do, and how bad it was going to get. As Derek sat in the back of the patrol car, his wrists sore from the unnecessarily tight cuffs, he watched the officers from behind the glass. They were chuckling. One even took a selfie outside the cruiser, posing like he'd just taken down a criminal. But Derek said nothing. He could have ended this instantly, spoken his name, flashed his credentials. But this wasn't just about him. It was about the department, about Oak Ridge, about how deep the problem ran. At the precinct, they made him wait. No phone call, no questions, just a label, suspicious male, non-compliant. The officers joked openly nearby, unaware of the camera in the room recording every second. Then one of them muttered, "Bet he's got a record a mile long." "They all do." Another chimed in, "Yeah, he was casing that coffee shop. I guarantee it." Still, Derek said nothing. Across town, meanwhile, the mayor, city officials, and media were gathering at City Hall. It was supposed to be a momentous day. Oak Ridge had just hired its first black police chief, a bold move after years of scandal. The podium stood ready, TV cameras prepped. But their keynote speaker was missing. Calls went unanswered. Back at the precinct, the watch commander, a senior officer named Jensen, walked past the holding room and froze. His eyes narrowed. He looked again, then yanked the door open. "What the hell are you doing here?" he asked sharply, half in disbelief, half in fear. Derek raised an eyebrow. "I was about to ask you the same thing." The color drained from Jensen's face. He turned to the arresting officers, who were now visibly confused. "He's the new chief," Jensen hissed. There was a moment of silence so thick it felt like the building itself had stopped breathing. And then panic. The cuffs came off. Apologies were thrown like confetti. But it was too late. Derek wasn't angry. He didn't shout. He simply reached into his jacket, retrieved a USB flash drive, and placed it on the sergeant's desk. "Everything I need," he said calmly, "is on here." The USB Derek handed over wasn't just symbolic. It held damning footage from the station's own security system. Every joke, every slur, every moment of unchecked bias from the officers who arrested him. The footage showed them mocking, stereotyping, and mishandling a man they never even asked for ID. That evening, instead of the mayor proudly introducing Oak Ridge's new chief at City Hall, the press conference was moved to the police department. The mayor stood to the side now, tight-lipped, watching as Derek, flanked by civil rights attorneys and media crews, walked into the room not as a symbol of progress, but as living proof of just how far the city still had to go. Derek stepped up to the mic. The room was dead silent. "I was arrested this morning for standing outside a coffee shop. No warrant, no questions, just assumptions," he said, scanning the room. "The only thing I was guilty of was waiting for a phone call. A call from the mayor to confirm I'd been selected as your new chief of police." Cameras flashed. The media scrambled to jot every word. Behind him, the faces of the arresting officers appeared on the screen, caught on video, laughing, bragging, humiliating someone they thought would never fight back. "But I'm not here today to fire back in anger," Derek continued, his voice steady. "I'm here to change a culture." His words were sharp, but calm, measured, powerful. One of the arresting officers stood off to the side, now stripped of his badge and gun. His hands shook as he watched his face projected across the screen. A face caught in the act of everything the department swore it no longer tolerated. Derek paused, then finished. "This isn't just about me. It's about every person who was arrested, profiled, or mistreated before they ever had the power to prove their worth. Today, I stand not as a victim, but as a mirror." In the days that followed, everything changed. The two officers involved were suspended pending investigation. A full review of past stop-and-search cases began under Derek's orders. For the first time, the department wasn't just making promises, it was taking action. Derek was officially sworn in, not behind closed doors, but in front of the entire city. Streamed live, standing beside activists, clergy, and those who had once marched for justice in the streets of Oak Ridge. But he never forgot what happened that morning. He had walked into town hoping to serve. Instead, he was reminded of the burden black men still carry, even in power. He used that memory not to harden, but to lead with purpose. Under his leadership, body cameras became mandatory. Bias training wasn't a checkbox. It was lived, measured, and enforced. Community members were invited to police review boards. And slowly, trust began to return. People who once feared the badge started speaking up, not just because they felt safe, but because they knew someone like Derek was listening. And as for the arrest video, it went viral. Not because of violence, but because of truth. The truth that no title, no status, no rank could shield someone from prejudice. And the powerful truth that one man turned humiliation into transformation. Derek didn't ask for pity. He didn't demand revenge. He rebuilt the very system that broke him. And maybe that's what real justice looks like. Not a headline, not a clapback, but a legacy. Because justice, he once said, isn't about how loud you shout when you're right. It's about what you build when everyone's watching.